Turn my top around. It is just a gift bag.
3, 2, 1.
That was so hard to do without ripping my lovely garment.
Hiya, welcome back to the gag because we ain't got a gig.
But at least we've got the gag. My name is Daphne.
My name is Tayris Mongardi, your plus size kind of menage Barbie tonight. Woof.
Tayris, you know how last year we didn't do Christmas presents?
Yeah.
I figured that my presents is your present.
Oh, what
and also
treat.
Me in a 99p store gift bag is also your present. Merry Christmas.
As long as you kept the receipt, it's all good. I'm doing a Sacha Bell. I seem to have misunderstood the assignment because mine's bag adjacent, but perhaps not a bag. So I guess we're both in the bottom this week. It's all right. Do you know, just the other day, I was in Tesco and this old woman, she had a heart attack right in front of me. And I was like, well,
Stop it.
I was gagged, I was shaken. I was like, oh my God, I need to carry on in my day. But I was like, I don't want to miss the tea. Like, is she going to pull through? And I don't think it was looking good for her. And the worst part was, she just bought a bag for life.
Oh, stop it. Wait, is this just a bad joke?
Yeah.
You might think that my outfit is just a bit one-dimensional, but no, just like Joey J, I too have 2 puns in my outfit because I'm also gonna let the cat out the bag.
Oh, me, his bish, as a wise woman once. Is that terrible?
Meow.
Meouch for that pun.
Okay, so now my outfit's currently breaking apart. Should we get on with the episode?
For this week's challenge, we love a ball, darling, we love a ball, and it is the bag ball. What are your thoughts on this as a concept?
They are running out of ideas.
I was under the assumption, we'll get onto this in the challenge, that they would have to take the bags and deconstruct and use the fabric. So I've come as like a leatherette beanbag, deconstructed, giving you a moment, and they're like, in some cases better than others, I'm just gluing it to me and seeing what happens. The girls walk back into the workroom rather than last week, and after Denali has just killed this lip sync. Firstly, nobody talked about the lip sync. I was like, girl, that was a cultural moment.
No. Candy brings up that she was not so pleased that she didn't win the challenge. I thought that took a lot of nerve.
This next situation that follows it completely confused me. The fact that Tamisha, as a member of the Tam fam, it's been a hard week, we'll get through that this week, but I think when she was like, no, we're all your competition, I'd be like, I was like, she never said you weren't. And I guess, Tamisha's been in the game a while, she's trying not to be discounted, but I'd be like, love, not me saying that you don't have a good skill set, but she's got 2 wins, you got 0, like, who am I watching out for? Do you know what I mean?
As much as I absolutely love Tamisha Rahman, I feel like as soon as she met Candy, there was just something about her that just really irked her. Yeah. And so now I feel like she's gonna kind of be picking up on anything. So when she said that about like the Simone thing, automatically her eyes aren't going towards Tamisha, who was the other person that was in the top with them.
Yeah.
I think it just irked her that she wasn't getting that respect.
Well, she wasn't in the top, was she?
Get on.
We said she should have been in the top. It was Rosé, so she wasn't. She was just saved, but...
Oh my God, yeah, she was just saved.
It's just we're blinded by our Tam fam stan.
So after they have a little kiki and act like little toddlers, RuPaul comes in and tells them that they're going to have to be doing a little baby mini challenge, which is right up everyone's street, it seems like, attitude-wise.
I think, they must have watched the gag. They know that we wanted to see more man as baby content a la Coco Montrese. So I was like...
Could you imagine if Coco Montrese just came in and, showed you how to do it? What was her pageant queen?
Oh, the little doll one. I only remember Pound Cake. And hers are like Ms.
Yeah,
Savannah Lee. Unlike blah 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 blah, she's completed all her titles. I was like, oh.
Do you remember when they have to make bears? And little Kenya Michael makes
Le Trans Bear. I always think about All Stars 4 when you're going to be doing this song, My Best Judy, and I was like, oh.
She's my best Judy!
Well, we can do that. We'll still end up in the bottom again.
I sing that all the time, actually. What did you think of this little mini baby challenge?
I mean...
Baby time.
I didn't really have an opinion on it. I thought it was camp, it was kind of fun,
In terms of looks for this mini challenge, I know it's just a mini challenge and it doesn't really mean much.
Joey
J.
Talk
about Joey J. Not being in drag?
Literally like his Kiki onesie that he brought from home, a Kiki sister onesie.
What?
And then like a
And
big
he wore sunglasses.
I was kind of like...
So he didn't have to wear any makeup.
If anything, it kind of reminded me of, you know, Tom Cruise in that film, like, highway to the Top Gun, like, danger zone, like... No.
Yeah.
So Ru introduces the challenge, and it is the bag ball. So yeah, like I said earlier, I thought they'd have to make, like, deconstruct the material of the bags, which I guess you'd need really 2 days to go about, you know, like, even this, like, was not a quick ordeal. I said it, I made it in like 2 days. But also, I will say, I love Candy News's thought process, where she's like, I saw the bag, school bag, first day bag, ho, I'm a ho.
The thing is, it's like different with her and say Utica, for example, is like when Utica was having that interaction last week when RuPaul was absolutely losing his shit, she knew what she was doing the entire time and she kind of knew why he was laughing at, what points he was going to be laughing at. Whereas when RuPaul had this like interaction with Candy where he was just like kind of talking and you could tell she kind of just drifted off. And so when he came to the end of his sentence, she was like,
I love it.
I love that, or something. And he absolutely ate that up, but she even said it in the confession, was like, I don't know why he's laughing, but cool, I'm laughing. And I'm just like, that's the clear difference between her and Utica for me. Is like, I don't know, if you're just kind of laughing because just like, oh, for the sake of it, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I just feel like I just don't find her funny. One thing I did notice that he did, it was very like British Bake Off style, where like everyone kind of had to come to Ru. I don't know if it's in his old age, he's trying to find a...
It's the rickets playing up. It was probably like a COVID thing. And he had to stay in that spot because obviously the judges get to go home every episode. So he was like, you have to come to me and stand in a little space, Kiki. Something I was really gagged to hear is that Simone's like, I can't sew. And I was like, as somebody who I think is bringing the highest standard of looks of the girls so far, and I just think, you know, like, if you're a comedy girl, you should know how to make them yuck, you know. And if you're like a fashiony girl, I just feel like it's something you should have in your arsenal to be able to craft a garment. I think this is probably the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that we've had a girl who's as fashion focused and like forward as Simone, who hasn't had a sewing ability.
Well, Tamisha. Fucking hell, we'll get on to that. Yeah. But then, to be honest, I don't really think of Tamisha as a fashion queen. Well, I mean, with those high tops.
I think I think of Tamisha in the same way that I think of you are, like an expert seamstress, as opposed to like Miss Fashionista.
See, instead of you talking about you are the drag queen, I just thought you said you.
You. It's like when I thought you would do the same makeup and stuff, just to highlight me as a creative artist.
I was like that time in the fucking first episode where I had so much black fall out here, and you're like, I thought they were just freckles like halfway through.
Well, you know, I haven't got any freckles today. I've got blotchy foundation.
Why? When have I ever got black freckles?
We're both trying new things out for this. Like, I've never seen that garment on you before. We also finally get to see that familial connection between Tamisha and Lala Reed have just been glossing over. So they confirm it is her daughter. We were right.
It wouldn't surprise me if Lala has someone else in her scene that she kind of considers as a drag mum instead of Tamisha, because obviously Tamisha only just kind of put her up in drag.
I imagine it's
Which, does that mean that they were friends? Like before, and then they put in drag, and then they just kind of weren't friends anymore?
What I imagine for me...
Or did she literally just go up to her one day, put a wig on her, and just held her hostage?
So, day 2, everyone's getting their outfits together, ready in the workroom, and you know what? Something I saw myself a lot in, Candy on that graft with Joey J, being like, oh, he's so cute. I was like, that would so be a bit of me.
I would find that so annoying. If I was there, and there was 2 obnoxious gays running around chasing each other, I'd be like, nah, we're stopping now. Girls!
I thought you were going to say, you'd find it so annoying if some boy was in the workroom like, hey, girl, like, trying to get with you. And I'm like,
We all know I'd be the trade of the season.
Do you want to tell them about that date with the very nice?
I've got many a bad date story, but one in particular I was talking to Tayris about recently. There was once a guy that I went to dinner with. Everything seemed to be fine. Until the waitress came over. She brought over a starter, and he just looked her dead in the eye and just went, very nice, like it's from Borat. I was like, yeah, whatever. He did it again. Yeah, My God, did he do it again. so many times to the point I genuinely thought I was on a prank show.
But do you know what?
Like there was a split, I was looking around, I was like, there's no way that, like, he's either being paid to do this or he's absolutely fucking batshit. Like, I was like, what? And such a weird niche reference as well to be referencing Borat. This was like 2 years ago. Like, this was not at the height of Borat.
He probably knew there was a sequel in the works.
I hope he wasn't wearing a mankini underneath.
You never know. Did he take it that far?
No, I didn't. I didn't take it outside. What does that even mean?
I said take it that far. Like, did he go back to his...
Oh, did I take it that far? No, he took it too far.
On this week's emotional, intense mirror chat, we finally get talking on the topic of BLM. And obviously, I forgot, like, what they would have filmed this maybe, like, last June. So it was, like, really in the height of the movement. I think it's Olivia who brings it up, how, you know, our black trans brothers and sisters are the people who are most at risk at the moment. And again, like we've said before, as much as we like to see the Kiki sisters and like the runways and stuff, I think Drag Race first and foremost is a platform for like queer excellence.
It's a shame that like the sad mirror has kind of become a meme within itself now, because I feel like there's a part where people kind of like turn off because they're like, okay, well, we know that this segment's going to be 5 minutes of an important subject that maybe people don't necessarily want to listen to. I'm happy they've never cut down on this, and they've always kind of kept it true. It's very much like a part of like an episode formula now. Yeah, I was happy that, you know, Tamisha also, you know, brought in the fact that like for black trans women in particular, like that, you know, I think the statistic is absolutely mental. I think it's like they have a life expectancy of about 34. A black trans woman, especially in the USA. And so yeah, it was so important to highlight that, you know, during these protests, these are two issues that very much aren't separate. They're hand in hand together, and it's something that needs to be combated together. If we kind of like start focusing on like, well, this needs our attention more at this point, and this needs our attention more at this point, we're all trying to get to the same goal. We're all trying to get to that same level of just equality. So yeah, I thought it was very refreshing that they brought both of those conversations into the mix at one.
So now moving on to the runway, and we've got
No. I can't believe you didn't put this down in your note. The only thing I found worth mentioning in the bit before the runway was Utica talking about how she's never been to a ball before, and Mother Aman sorting that shit out. For me, I had the exact same reaction as I'm currently having watching UK Drag Race. And I even said out loud, I was like, this is so fun. Have fun.
It is very camp.
I love watching the girls just like kiki in the workroom, have a little like fun. Because obviously there's so much fucking time pressure with this kind of stuff, but like,
of course,
they're there to make a TV show. And me personally, I'd much rather them have like a little like montage where like making outfits, being camp, having a silly little ball, as opposed to like, fuck you, sewing, you know?
And even then, like, you know, it wasn't just a case of let's all pretend to duck walk, you know. We get a little bit of education, we learn about Jack Mizrahi, they mentioned legends like Willie Ninja and Wonder Woman Laomi.
We learned a lot of things, and also we learned that Joey J has a back problem. That's why Lala had to carry him through the lip sync.
Shh, we're not there. Spoilers.
See? I do the zingers too. The zingers.
So moving on to the runway, and we've got 36 looks to get through, and I'm so into it. I love a ball. I love seeing the looks because I think it's one of the most objectively things you can judge about the show. Either brought a good runway look or you didn't. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, With these ones, with the categories and the balls, it's not like material. So like sheer, yellow, like, you know, like certain like just very basic things that could cover a whole ground. This is very much like go crazy, go wild, and with the ball categories, it's always like it gives you room to really show that you can come with a real full realized conceptual look.
Absolutely.
And also have to make something on the spot as well. It really does test both of your fashion abilities, because it's one thing to be able to come up with a gaggy idea and give it to a designer, and one thing to actually have that idea and be able to put it into life, just like I do so perfectly.
Well, first up, we've got Denali. Let's talk about her looks. So, talking about her airbag look, I was into it. I was so into it. I get the references. You know, the glasses were a little bit Willy Wonka for me, but I think, you know, airbag as a concept is so ridiculously camp. She sold the presentation. Love a little duck walk with a steering wheel. I thought it was camp.
Oh, that was my favourite part of it, when she was just kind of duck walking and then waving. That was very, very gorgeous. Denali for me this week was like the pure definition of safe.
Yeah,
all of her looks were like absolutely B+. Good job, Denali. I did like her executive look. I thought that was quite cool.
I wasn't crazy about it. Do you know what I think it is though? I think there was nothing wrong with the construction. I maybe particularly wasn't crazy about the hair. I thought it looked a little bit dry. But I mean, like, the construction of the garment was nice. I like the different tones under the lapel. Like, one was fabric, one was fur. I think, just for me, I'm kind of just a little bit bored of Cruella de Vil as a reference. I feel like it is a really, like, a bit overdone as a drag queen reference.
Is Cruella de Vil an executive, and what's she an executive of? Does she own a company? Is she
maybe
a small business
maybe like
owner?
a fur factory. I remember, I don't know if you've ever been to Drusilla's. I know you've been to Drusilla's actually, because you've been to Hello Kitty World. But they used to have...
I went to Hello Kitty World, yeah.
Do you remember they had that little mud hut section, and next to the mud hut, they had the farm, the bit about where Madonna used to have a chinchilla farm. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is it the kind of, life imitates art, maybe? And coming round to her Gagus with your Bagus look, I felt there was a better pun there somewhere, but I couldn't find it.
What is a Bagus? What is a Bagus, and why did they say it more than 3 times?
The face was a clear focal point for me. I loved it, like the detail work with the stone to create the Dias de los Muertos kind of sugar skull makeup. I think I wasn't keen on the fabric she chose, but I guess ultimately you're working with that limited repertoire of like what is there, and also I think if you're linking it to your heritage, that is possibly like the most useful fabric you could use.
I think when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I could do without the head bit, but then actually if you took that away, I think maybe she might have been in the bottom for being too plain.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
It was alright. It was good.
Joey J. Okay, so firstly the bag look, it wasn't for me. I think there's a few...
I was so confused.
I like the direction she took it in, like the little syringe arm and stuff was quite camp. I think for me the issue was, firstly, she had like all the stones on the bodysuit, which were quite lovely, like the way it like stoned out her tit bar contour and stuff. But then I wish she had some stone tights or something to carry through the stones, because then it just became like nude legs and a random stone top. And the actual construction of the leotard part just was quite poor.
I'm still so confused as to why she had ivy on her.
I think we're all a bit confused. Everyone aside from I think even she's confused. The only person who seemed to get it was Nicole Byer. I honestly think that is what Joey meant, but the way Carson was explaining it was confusing Joey. So Joey's like, no, it's like ivy.
No, I don't think he meant poison ivy. I think he just meant ivy because it's like a haha ivy bag.
But then I was like...
But I still think that's so, like, the way he placed the I don't know what fucking lame film that poison ivy's from, but like even I knew that was like, oh, that looks like poison. Even I said out loud poison ivy.
Yeah, because I was like, otherwise why would you need to go to the medic for it? I mean, like, if it was poison ivy, you'd be like, oh yeah.
The next look she came out, my genuine reaction was, fucking hell, you have got to be kidding. She came out dressed like a fucking Butlins red coat with black leggings. She got her little red tinny spray from Claire's to put on her hair. You have got to be kidding me.
No, so I think...
This is a joke.
Am
I on a prank show still?
Very nice. I think I liked that the leggings like had a black sequin with a red overlay. So then as it walked... Like,
shut up. No. You are reaching. You are reaching, mama. You are reaching.
I didn't get executive realness from it. That is ultimately the problem. I think...
No, of course not.
Even if she'd lost...
What executive's wearing leggings?
Even if she'd lost the eye patch... Because then I think that made it like kind of spy. And also if we're talking about these like couch crate clutches, at least with Denali's it was like block red, so it kind of worked. But this one was like, I don't understand, why was there a binary on it? I was like, Tia Coffee is somewhere like chicken, And
actually, can we talk about the fact that they had to have this additional make your bag look the same? Because I don't know if they really incorporated that into the judging at all. But I did think it was so weird that they asked them to do this on an executive look, when I can imagine before they got to the competition they realised that they had to do this part, this sponsor part. Quite a lot of them probably would have already had bags that they brought to go along with that outfit, so I would be so annoyed.
And I guess so. And then her gagus with your baggers. Do you know what? I wasn't actually mad at it. The only thing I would maybe nitpick about it is, and I guess you can't really control it because it's a bag and not a bolt of fabric, but I wish that before she started sewing anything, she'd taken like a red fabric and like sewed it to the back of the polka dot fabric. So whenever she had all those spiral details, it'd have a red lining. Because how much would that tie into the lip and the eyeshadow and the pump? Because otherwise, when you then see the cone like upside down, which is turning around, you see all the seam work, which I guess as a construction error, it makes it look a bit cheaper.
Like the top half, I actually think was quite pretty.
Yeah.
Like the little like shoulder pad with the sheer. A lot of the time looking at her outfit, I was trying to figure out what it was and where things were going, as opposed to just being like, oh well, this is an outfit. Also for me, what really kind of gave me the ick was the styling of it. And when she was like, it's Rihanna, Katy Perry, all these like really generic references, and then she was like with a bit of Minnie Mouse. And then I looked at her fucking halfway glove and I was just like, ugh, just why? At what point makes you go, do you know what, this needs a bit of Minnie?
But
let's add a bit of Minnie to this.
When she said it, I saw it though. I actually don't even think it was one of the weaker looks from the bags. I just think her general presentation of the other two brought it down. Next up, God bless her soul, is Miss Lalaurie. So, Bag of Bones was not for me. Firstly, I really like the trumpet skirt, like the actual burlap bag. I thought that was really cool. I agreed with what they said, like the bones needed to form some sort of pattern, and also what's more than that, I just have a weird thing about like long hair with like a gown like that. I think if it had an updo, like maybe some bone piece in the hair, I just thought, and also she was carrying that skull, it was really cumbersome prop. I just don't think it was very successful.
It literally looked like it was weighing her down, and so maybe if like the burlap had come up and it was in the middle, like in her frame, it kind of came out and gave like a nice little peplum, and then she had more of the bones, like less room for where the bones could go, but more where she could kind of build them up and make it a little bit more like interesting and like let the texture actually come out.
See, what bag would you have done?
I think I would have done like makeup bag. I'm surprised no one did, considering this is a drag show. Like, I'm really surprised no one did do that. I can imagine like the top bit just having a whole bunch of like a mascara wand coming out. I'm about to lash out.
Out.
What would you do?
I might have done like cat out the bag, and then so I would have done like an homage as a theatre gay, and put that hideous thing down.
How do you know I'm touching it?
It's that hideous white thing, I've seen it, and it's got the squinty eyes. A reference to like Cats, the musical, like sexy puss like stepping out of like a Louboutin purse, like, ooh. Also, Daph, I have to ask, this is not relevant to anything, but so were you a Harry Potter fan? I know she's a TERF, I hate her too. Were you a Harry Potter fan?
Absolutely not. I refuse to read anything to do with goblins and starships and wizards and aliens.
I mean, we meet enough at the bar, don't we? Go. There's this character called Peter Pettigrew, who's like works for like Lord Voldemort, or whatever. I've never read the books, but then it's basically in the film, in the third one, you find out that he's Ron's pet rat, Scabbers, and I was like, okay. And I was under the assumption that Scabbers, he like swapped with Ron's rat halfway through the film or something. But I asked my friend Steph, shout out to Steph, no she watches XOXO, that he's always Ron's rat, Scabbers. But apparently in the book it makes it specifically clear that Ron loves cuddling with his rat at night, and Scabbers always like kikiing. So I was like, gross that this man, Peter Pettigrew, has been Ron's rat this whole time, and when he's like 11, and every night spends his like night cuddled up with Ron in the bed.
Was that it?
That was it.
Can I just give some context? We just stopped for a little bit and Tayris was like, oh, Daph, I have to tell you this story. And then you started telling it and I was like, no, wait, I've got to wait. I've got to save this for the camera. I was like, all right, juicy. Yeah, let's do this. Bring it on me now. That was it.
Okay, well, someone just slithering with that attitude. Am I right, guys?
Am I a Slytherin? Is that what? I get told a lot that I'm a Huffle.
No, yeah, big Hufflepuff energy, actually.
One time, I went to my cousin's 90s themed birthday party, and she was dressed up as Harry Potter. I was quite drunk at this point, so I went up to her, and I just went, Harry, I am your father. Apparently that was a completely wrong reference.
Isn't that Star Wars?
It's all a bunch of dribble.
And talking about a bunchy dribble, Lalaurie's executive look. The dress is actually quite a bit of me. I'd love to wear that for a night at the club. I also like that she matched the pink bag with her pink pumps. But do you know what? Like, and the makeup was lovely. I actually think she could have done with a wig. I didn't mind the bald, but also I was just kind of like, it was just a bit pedestrian overall.
I liked the dress. It wasn't executive.
Yeah.
I don't know who's wearing that to work. I think she looks quite gorgeous bald, actually. And to be honest, I think if she was going to do bald, I think she should have done that for the bag of bones. I think that would have looked gorgeous instead of having that massive hair. And then going on to her last look. Oh my god.
Mama, this was garbage.
Oh my days.
I think
Wow.
I'm putting it out there. I think it is the worst construction garment in a sewing challenge we have ever had.
But it just wasn't. I don't want to call that a garment. That was not a garment.
See,
that was a corset. It was an.
I
just don't get what she was spending her time doing. I'm so confused.
And honestly, I think first off, she's like, I ran out of bags, and I think you've said the same. Why did you not just cut the bags
in half?
I just thought,
you're literally doubling your material.
I felt bad for her because I was like, do you know what? Like, I'd be so embarrassed to walk on the runway in that. I know you've got to get out there, but I was like, I couldn't. I know I'd feel so mortified because I just know it's terrible. Like, and I felt like, as you saw last week, with my little like fucking card number, if I have to be crafty in a minute, I can be quite crafty, and maybe it's because
you would kill this challenge. I know you would kill this challenge.
But I was just kind of like, I couldn't look at that and be like. Also, I could look at the bag firstly and be like, I'm a heifer. That's not going to cover enough of me. Do you know what I mean? You know, like she said, she's a performer first and foremost, and now I'm believing what she's saying. Next up, somebody I think got done dirty in this ball. Elliot with 2 T's. I'm into it.
I never thought these words would be coming out of my mouth. This is quite a historic day, I feel. Elliot should have been in the top. Nay, perhaps should have won. Okay, maybe not that far, but for me, I would have swapped him out for Mick.
Gag. I thought it was so camp. I love her hair. She's super pretty.
So gorgeous.
I love the choice. I see, you two are repping the same sort of theme today.
This was my favourite bag look. Genuinely, this was my favourite look of Come as a Bag because this was so on the nose but cute, fashionable, very charming, loads of personality. It fit her gorgeously. She didn't look boxy. She was wearing a gift bag. I was just so happy watching this, and I was like, I can't believe this is Elliot. My only bugbear, and this is real tiny.
Real hot girl shit.
She had the little clutch that said to RuPaul. Maybe if at the other side, because it was just blank, when she was walking back, it should just say Love Elliot.
Camp, yeah.
Because then that's like I was expecting that to happen, and then she turned around and I was like,
That's fair enough. No.
But I think maybe I was just expecting too much, but love this. I absolutely adored this.
Her executive realness, I thought was so camp. I love a hard structured shoulder. I was like, this is so glamour. It's probably my favourite I've seen Elliot look. Like the hair, that kind of like soft wave. I was like, I'm so into it. Like, kind of again, like really on the nose, like in this executive, and I thought it was deserved.
This is the mature kind of aesthetic that RuPaul talks about all the time. That like I don't necessarily mind because I really felt like this was still fresh, new, interesting. I love this as well. I think this might have been my favourite executive. I found very little that I didn't like about it.
And then coming on to her last look, this is how I thought everyone had to interpret the challenge. That's how I interpreted it. Like, take a bag item, deconstruct it, and use the fabric for something else. This was her entrance hair, but I thought her hair looked so much more successful in this on the sunball. She was like the pastel pink with this beanbag that had like the splotches of pink.
That jacket was so impressive. You could not tell me that she did not bring that jacket from home. I want that jacket. That was the only thing on the runway I'd be like, happily wear that tomorrow. I am obsessed with that jacket.
It was so nice, yeah.
She did the best job of making it look like that was not a design challenge. I was gobsmacked. Honestly, I couldn't believe that she wasn't in the top for that just jacket alone. The skirt and the top underneath were real basic. I think if she was just going to go with something basic, she's just on like a tube dress. Yeah.
Next, breaks my heart to talk about her running, Tamisha Iman. So that old bag look, I didn't care for it. Firstly, the wig was so cheap. It was like brightly shiny and plasticky. I wasn't into it, and I think there's so many more creative directions you could have taken with it, especially considering they've already done an elderly runway on Drag Race on season 10.
I liked it purely because she was wearing a Smithy's wig. I was like, I can notice that shine from anywhere. No, I thought it was fun. Like as soon as she came out, I had like an audible like fun.
I think she sold it, considering what everyone did for this runway. You could have just pushed it so much further. So you just look really simple. And then moving on to her executive realness look, I don't believe she was an executive. Like, I think maybe she was just a rich woman. Like, if this was in last year's ball for like basketball wife, I'd be like, oh yeah, fairs.
I literally have nothing to say about it at all. I didn't,
And
I didn't care for it. I feel bad. Why do I feel like I'm cheating on my mum? And then her last look.
no, even they said like even if she took off the neck piece and the choker, that to me still would have been too much. The shoulders and the chest piece and the like skirt and like the belt, and then none of it matched all together.
I felt like she was a parent chaperone going to my big gay prom, so she felt like she needed to wear something glitzy and sparkly. The hair with it was just so like, it was just so mumsy.
Yeah. Next up is Simone. Firstly, her fun bags thing. It was a solid look, very clean. I like the fur trim, I like the hair, and I like the little camp pop the tip moment. We've seen in last week with Bimini how popping balloons can go wrong, so at least it stick itself to a good point.
I kind of feel like maybe I was a bit more excited to see what Simone was going to do with this, and then I was like, yeah, okay. But I did really like the dress when she had popped it. Like, they draped really nicely.
Yeah.
Like the saggy tits, and I was like, I actually kind of like this dress without the big
fun bag.
What was very fun though was this executive look. Oh my god, I wanted to eat that. What material was that, and how can I eat it?
I think it's called liquid silk, and I remember Aunt Simone from Australia, if you know them, they have this gown that's made out of it, and that's when I first ever saw the material. I was like, this is incredible. It's well spenny, and Ru's got a couple pieces that have liquid silk in it, but I was like, this is like so bizarre. Like the chap cut in the knee.
Oh, I loved this
It kind
wig.
of was so unexpected for this category, and I think it was so unique a garment because if you saw the garment on its own, you wouldn't say executive realness, but when they told it to executive realness, you're like, absolutely. And I think I just thought it was so unique, and I loved it.
Loves it. I didn't love her last look. I think if there were fewer girls there though, this definitely was one of the weaker ones in the safe.
Absolutely. I think that, I mean, I love the glasses, I love the makeup, I love the hair. I mean, that's all things you bought from home. Like, the bra was fine, the skirt, there was even though it's a simple wraparound skirt, there was still construction issues, because really with any sort of skirt like that, you're better off doing a centre panel, back panel, and two like side panels so it hugs you right, because otherwise it was kind of like the bottom hem was wonky, didn't sit properly.
Effectively what she was wearing was what Elliot made for underneath her coat, but Elliot made that coat on top, so that to me again was like another like very direct comparison. It's like, why? I don't get why Elliot has been overlooked like this.
Yeah, perhaps. Next up is Olivia Lux, who I think had a slightly unfortunate showing in these first two categories. Firstly, punching bag. I felt so gutted when I saw it, because obviously not only have we just seen it on Simone, but I think Simone's is probably a bit more successful.
George from Asda. That was a George from Asda best.
I think it's not even just that I've seen Simone's, because if I saw this outfit, I'd be like, oh, work. When I saw Simone's later in the season, I still think Simone's was better. It's not as my opinion's just been dulled.
Yeah, definitely. I think my real issue this week for me with Liv, and I genuinely thought she was going to be in the bottom, was this executive look. This was so ill-fitting. This did not fit her in any way.
And I think
and it was such a weird cut and choice with the colours. I just really thought Olivia had more taste and class in this. This was so mumsy.
And I think, like the bob, the lining of the cape, even with the coffee, she was like, oh, coffee executive. I was like, this whole look to me is just reading air stewardess, like she works for British Airways. I was like,
No, stressed out mum.
I was like,
She looked like she was about to come down the runway being like, being a mum is hard. You gotta take them to school and then you're trying to take your coffee with you. And I thought it was so mumsy. I was like, she looks so stressed out.
Is that how your mum talks to you, darling? I definitely feel like her strongest showing of the night was her bags, Gaga's look. I was quite into this. I really liked the girls who managed to make the bags not look like they were bags, and especially on her arms, and I was like, oh, this looks like just a really cool holographic fabric. I wouldn't immediately look at that like, oh, it's made of a bag, you know. I thought it was a serve, a very obvious Chromatica reference, you know. I'm gay, I'm here for it.
Effectively, it was a bra and panties, but she sold it in a way with the sleeves that kind of made it a little bit more interesting, and I think it helped that she had a material that already had the embroidery on it, so it was just a case of placing it in the right way.
I don't know if you agree, I just feel like I didn't see the joy that we see from Olivia this week, and she talks about it later on Untucked, which we're going to cover because there's a lot to cover, but I think, you know, she says she's starting to get into her head, I mean, it's such a shame to see people get into their head this early, because they're only on episode like 4, 5.
Well, I mean, think of what they put them through. They probably think that they've been there for about 3 months at this point, like just shaking, and producers are just turning them away from walls that they're walking into, like, no, we're doing this now.
Up next is Gottmik. Okay, so firstly, the body bag look, I was quite into. I like, especially the bodysuit. One of my favourite parts was like the vascular detail. Like they'd really gone in with the airbrushing, so you see all like the vein work, so it looked more like a corpse. Was it my favourite of the bag looks? Not particularly, but I thought it was definitely like solid.
Actually, this one for me was actually quite forgettable. I had to think for a while which one they did. One thing that did annoy me actually, it wasn't a hard back on the where the organs were, and so you could see it kind of like flip-flopping around as they were moving, and you could see where it wasn't lined underneath, and so like that to me I was just like, this feels a little bit more like arts and crafty, but again, I'm sitting here in a fucking 99p store gift bag, like I don't know who I am saying anything. I was absolutely in love with the executive suit.
It was so impeccably detailed. I think Gottmik is very fortunate that they managed to come to the show with budget, like with money. The pinstripe. I mean, I don't even know if there actually were stripes on the suit or the stripes were just made of crystal. But either way, it was just so incredible. I'm usually not very into the whole asymmetrical thing, but I really worked. I just thought it was a really incredible showing.
And then we come on to their last look, and this is what I like. It wasn't a bad look in any way, shape or form. I don't know, I can't help but feel like they were in the top because of that middle look. Like I was just like, yeah, it's alright, it's fine. Like I was just surprised that they loved it as much as they did. Like I guess it was impressive. Maybe for me, I would have made it like dungarees instead and not done the asymmetrical.
Yeah.
I think it would have looked cooler if it was on both legs and they had maybe just the asymmetrical top. As if it's like a dungaree kind of coming loose.
I think, I guess when I looked at it, I thought of the ways that maybe I'd change it, and I guess, as you can see, I quite like these little gauntlets, so maybe like some of those on the sleeves or something. I think that, I like the styling of it, I like the way they sold it on the runway. I do think it was a really solid look, but I guess maybe because I'm not a particularly fashionable person, so I'd always be like, height and camp, and it's like, if that's not the drag you do, if you like really fashionable garments, and if you're looking for a really strong collective showing and a unique showing I can understand why they really love what Gottmik put forward in these 3 categories. Next up is Rosé. So like, firstly, I was so into her bagpipe look. This is my favorite. This is my favorite bag look. Like, so fucking camp.
Yeah. Next to Elliot, I really did like this. Also, like, I knew that they were Scottish, but that accent.
The detail work on like the actual like bagpipe like horn section, I thought it was very flattering. Probably my favourite look I've seen of Rosé.
And I absolutely love their executive look. I didn't know the reference at all, to be honest, but I thought it was really cute. Like when it came out, regardless of the reference, I was like, oh yeah.
It is much too simple. Like when you consider the looks that like Gottmik is brought to this category, Simone is brought to this category, Elliot is brought to this category, like more looks that we're going to talk about have brought to this category. It's literally a polka dot dress.
I disagree. I don't think it was just a polka dot dress. I really loved the silhouette of it. I thought it was very petite, nice. It really made her frame look a lot smaller. I really loved the way that the seams just kind of like effortlessly went from the shoulders and then just down.
Okay.
I really like this dress. Like I thought like just this dress on its own I would absolutely wear, and I'd be like, this is a cool, interesting dress. This isn't just like a box standard like polka dot dress. Going on to the design one, what did you think of this one?
I thought it was surprisingly camp. Like so simple in construction, like 2 bags with couture. They like the bag skirt. But I mean, she knows how to sell the garment. Like, spinning down the runway, and it was like lifting. I thought that detail was so nice. I was actually also really into this hair. And I love when I see hair that I know if I looked at it on their wig head, I'm not wearing that, that's hideous. But then as soon as she put it on, I was like, oh, work, bitch. Like, I was really into the styling.
Yeah. The only thing that, like, put me off slightly, and this was not in her control at all, so she did the best with what she could. I thought maybe the cups were just a little bit too big for her boobs, and so it kind of, it made the boob go up to a really unnatural point, but literally there was nothing else that she could have done with that.
Yeah, fair.
I think she turned it out. I think she did a really good job, and I think she deserved her top place.
Yeah, same. So next up we have Tina Burner. So her first look, I'm not familiar with the brown bag in it phrase. Like, I really love the hair. The hair's gorge. Like, I would love to wear that hair myself. I just don't like the dress. Like, I get it's like buying drinks from like the grocery store or whatever, but I just feel it was ugly.
I really like this. I thought this was cool. I think she really, really sold it. I was like actually genuinely laughing out loud. Yeah, I like, considering like a lot of like the costume stick like that she brings, like glamour costume, when really a lot of the time it's more costume. I thought this was one of her more successful ones. I love
her houndstooth,
her executive one.
Honestly, I think the best Tina has looked all season. The cut of everything was gorgeous. Like the detail is fabulous.
The detail is fabulous.
I just think that like so much of it was right.
I think like when she's trying to incorporate the whole like red, like burn, fire, get it, I like it when she does it subtly with just like this little red hair and it's not so fucking garish. Also, I still take massive issue with her eyebrows.
Yeah.
Why is she looking so sad? I just do not get it. I do not get it. The eyebrows do not like start there and go up. There are just one level. It's just a line. She just does one line. It makes no sense. It's like she's a cartoon character, like begging, like it's so weird.
No,
and then she got rid of her red eyebrows and put on yellow eyebrows for her final look. When she could have just kept the red eyebrows. The yellow eyebrows looked like she had accidentally like wiped some like quavers on the top of her forehead. It was so weird.
I may have been the McDonald's employee now for 5 years, almost 5 years. I fucking hate the ketchup mustard combo. I just think it's so ugly, and I know you said, oh, get in for the ride. I can't get on board with this. I just think it's so ugly. Like, the wig was like fine. I have that wig. I know you know I have that wig.
You could tell it was not made badly at all.
Absolutely.
It was not made badly at all.
There's nothing wrong with it.
But where was the inspiration?
Just like,
how can anyone look at that and feel inspired in any kind of way?
Well, do you know what? She's probably looking at that and looking at La Ree and was like, do you know what? This is fine. Next is Candy News. Do you know what? I feel like she's had a rough couple runway weeks, and I feel like this was a relatively solid showing across the board. I really like the latex. It was very form-fitting, really flattering on her silhouette.
I have the same issue as I had with one of her, you know, when she dressed up as the devil, not devil, with the hole in the back. When she didn't wear a tit, and it was such a form-fitting, like, latex. Like, it made no sense, and it just completely takes you out of this illusion because she has these gorgeous curves. I know that shouldn't bother me, and I know that like having tits is not the be all end all of drag, but it just really took me out of something. Like, I think I would have really liked this look if she had tits. The tits make or break it. She had the trick, but then what did she bring out? A wooden stick. That was fun, but like at least like make it like, I don't know, like a dildo or like, you know, something like, why like a wooden stick?
Don't be vulgar. Her objective realness, I was so into it. Like, I love, this is the Candy that she's saying she is, like, Thickums sex kitten. This
to me just kind of like reminded me of like annoying basic straight white girls like going on Halloween being like, I'm gonna be a fucking slutty nurse. Like, it was just very much like, I'm gonna be a businesswoman, and the reason why I'm a businesswoman is because I have a blazer. To me, I have the exact same issue with this as I have with Joey J just putting on a blazer and coming out of leggings. You can't just have like a little underwear suit and came out with a blazer. Again, where is she working? I don't know if I'm taking this too literally, but like, that's not an executive, like, you're not going into a workplace like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just because like, if we're actually comparing it to traditional ballroom when they would have the executive look, it's about being as real as possible.
This last look of hers, the neck up, woof. Like, this hair is so a bit of me. I'm so into it. The dress, the little like two-piece, kind of reminds me of, do you remember what Silky wore for her promo?
I think it was quite impressive. She managed to do that little bralette.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It fit very nicely, and it was quite symmetrical with the zips. Perfectly fine.
And the last one up on the runway is Utica. So firstly, this little...
Talk about robbed.
I mean, we'll come back to that. I mean, so doggy bag, I'm into it. Like, I really love the hair, the obnoxious poodle hair. I think I had to watch the runway twice to really like take in the clothes, because I was just so obsessed with the hair when I was watching it. I think it's so camp. It's so camp.
I absolutely adored this. I thought it was very fashion. I loved her presentation. She's just a pure delight to watch. I absolutely loved her exec look, those big ass fucking earrings. We all have a pair of those earrings. Don't try and act like we don't have.
She said Carol Burnett in Chicago. I more saw like kind of Liza and Cabaret.
It was. I was really confused as to when she said that. I was like, you mean... Okay, but you mean Liza Minnelli.
I really thought she could have done a little pad, like the little like shorties. I was like, I feel like I was a little bit underwhelmed by this look. But I don't give a fuck about that, because we're talking about her final look.
What was Lala doing whilst Utica did this and pretty much helped the entire workroom, it felt
and literally helped Lala thread her machine. Like, so incredible. Like the silhouette, like this is the way it's tapered in, like the big cow neck, so dramatic, so bloody gorgeous. Like, and like I said before, the makeup on it, like the little like shoppy pussycat with like the little smear, like Neko blush. Like I said, like, I'm so into her sense of style. I honestly think one of the best look queens we're going to see this season. And this, actually, I'll put it out there, this dress is my favourite look of the season so far. This hair was gorgeous. I love this hair on her. She looked like Annie Lennox. I was so into it. She's winning me over second by second. I just am absolutely in love with Utica. Okay, so I don't know about you, but for me, I've already said this before. My top three: Elliot, Rose, Utica. My top three would be Utica, Mick, and I would say Elliot. I'd say Elliot because I didn't care for Rose's executive realness, so yeah. And then bottom for me, I think Story checks out. I think I agree with the bottom three, actually, yeah. Get onto a lip sync. I was here for it. I was very, very happy with my front row seat for the Lalaurie experience. Yeah. She turned this out for me. Joey J, as you said, just looked absolutely petrified from start to finish the entire time. Lala just absolutely killed it. She's got the best energy. I just love watching her. She makes me smile. She just makes me beam. She's just one of those people that just like has it. I think it's so sad when somebody upstaged that moment. It kind of reminded me of the All Stars 5 when it's Ms. Cracker and she's doing that windmill kick and Morgan's like, I don't think so, and starts like hopscotching it. You're like, oh, how Morgan just stole your thunder. We have to say goodbye to Joey J, and I think it's the right decision for me, not only because she lost lip sync, but I feel like Lalaurie as an artist and a creative, and the story she has to tell and the narratives, I'm more interested to see that on my TV. And then, girl, this week we're going to be doing something that we do not typically do. For the very first time in quite some years, I watched Untucked because you told me to. And boy, did it deliver. Oh my god. I was shaken, not stirred, shaken, Mr. Bond. I was gooped. So essentially, what all kicked off, we don't need to care about the natter. Some of them feeling down that they're safe, you know, that's a lot of emotion for safe, if you ask me. They asked one another to critique one another, and Candy says, you need to be more self-aware. So I was like, she asked for an opinion, but also, that has nothing to do with her outfit, do you know what I mean? Nobody was like, oh, critique me as a person and my self-worth. To Elliot's defense, he didn't actually ask for that. Yeah. Olivia just straight up asked that question. And I noticed earlier on before, at the very beginning of the episode, Olivia asked the question, who do you think should have gone home? Yeah. So this is twice now that little sneaky Olivia Lux is kind of planting these little seeds. So you're saying like, well, Elliot, you wanted to hear my opinion. I think Elliot was just there and they all started being like, let's start talking about what we didn't like each other, starting with you. Yeah. So the top and the bottom girls come in, and this is where Bagageddon kicks off, because Tina asks, who do you think is in the top and who do you think is in the bottom? And Tamisha, Miss Tam Fam, says, well, there are some of you girls that I don't like, but I can respect your drag and I see why you're safe and I'm in the bottom. And makes a very clear look at Candy Muse. Now, that is so gaslighty. Like, I'm here for it. I love the drama. That is gaslighting.
They are both adult men who should know better. Like, when it comes to, like, teams and, like, being like, oh, well, Tamisha did this, but, you know, Candy's been doing this and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I am team two very talented queens making good TV. That's the team I'm on. Like, I think both of them are in the wrong. I think both of them are petty. But I also think both of them are drag queens that have been hired to do a certain job on a TV show. So, like, seeing people take this so seriously. Also, let's not remember how many hours of footage are we not seeing?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, they film for, like, what, 18 hours a day? We are seeing 43 minutes. So, like, there's a whole bigger picture.
And Candy goes off. She's clapping, you know, I love a clap too. And then she tries to storm out of the room and she's like, I'm gonna have to smack that bitch. And then Tamisha's following her, egging her on, like, you can hit me though.
Oh my god, when she just got up.
I was like, oh my god, stop, it's making me cringe. And I guess everyone's been going off on Candy in particular. I guess maybe I'm sympathetic because first, I'm just getting a little bit bored of this. As much as I love the drama, I'm getting bored of this chubby black girl villain narrative, like her, Britta, all the hate that Widow got, Silky in his last few years. And I'm not gonna lie, the self-centered part of me is like, is this what's going to happen to me when I'm on Drag Race? Am I going to have one argument? People are like, she should kill herself, you know? They have to cast you first. What?
I can't help but think Candy knows what she's doing. Every single quote was so thought out. She knew that she was making a good episode of Untucked. She kept on looking at the camera as well. Like, you could see her eyes going, and when her and Tamisha were having that moment, there was almost kind of like a smirk, like, okay, good, I've got another player for this. I
felt so bad for Joey J because this was his last week and that completely stole his thunder in the whole of Untucked. Like, there was no conversation about him. The only thing he got to say was, I think you're being arrogant.
My favourite Joey J line he's said throughout the entire thing was when Candy was going, do you think I'm arrogant? Do you think I'm arrogant? Do you think I'm arrogant? And Joey just being like, girl, what are you doing right now? Like, and this completes this week's episode of the I hope you enjoyed it. We had loads of fun making it.
We'll see you next week, my honeys. Bye.
Wait, just time for one more reveal. Come on!
I'm off.
There we
off
go.
To the pub.